Imagine a chill that doesn't just touch your skin, but seeps into your very bones, a cold hand reaching into the deepest corners of your mind. Tonight, we delve into a transformation far more insidious than mere death, a chilling metamorphosis that strips away not just your life, but your very essence. We're going to pull back the shroud on a truly disturbing phenomenon. What happens when you become an instance of SCP-049-2? This isn't a tale for the faint of heart, nor for those who cling to comforting illusions of a peaceful end. We're venturing into the realm of the truly unnatural, where the line between living and unliving blurs into a grotesque mockery. Our goal tonight is to illuminate the grim reality of this horrifying conversion, to lay bare the stages of its insidious process, and to confront the terrifying implications of its existence. Prepare yourself, for we will meticulously dissect the key aspects of this horrifying alteration. We'll explore the initial, almost imperceptible shifts that betray the onset of the Plague Doctor's touch, the insidious corruption of the flesh, and the chilling reanimation that follows. We will scrutinize the loss of self, the extinguishing of consciousness, and the birth of a new silent horror. From the first touch of the pestilence to the final shambling gait of the reanimated, every step of this macabre journey will be laid bare. We'll examine the physical degradation, the grotesque surgical interventions, and the terrifying, unthinking obedience that defines these unfortunate entities. This is not a story of monsters under the bed, but of a calculated, clinical horror that redefines the very concept of being. So, brace yourself. The truth, as it so often is far more terrifying than any fiction. And tonight, the truth will be revealed. The true horror of becoming an instance of SCP-049-2 lies not just in death, but in the grotesque perversion of what comes after. It begins subtly, an insidious whisper of decay, long before the physical transformation is complete. The initial stages are marked by a profound sense of malaise, a creeping fatigue that defies rest. Victims report a pervasive feeling of dread, an instinctual understanding that something irrevocably wrong has begun within their very cells. This isn't merely illness, it's a premonition of obliteration. As the affliction progresses, the body begins its agonizing decline. Skin takes on a pallid, almost waxy appearance, and the eyes, once windows to a soul, become sunken and listless, reflecting an inner void. The most disturbing early symptom, however, is the profound cognitive deterioration. Memories fray at the edges, coherent thought becomes a struggle, and the individual's personality, their unique spark, begins to dim, replaced by a growing apathy. They become hollowed out, their inner landscape echoing the barrenness of their impending fate. This isn't just a physical sickness, it's a psychic erosion, preparing the vessel for its grim purpose. Then comes the inevitable encounter, or perhaps the willing surrender to SCP-049. The touch of the Plague Doctor is not one of healing, but of a final, irrevocable transformation. The surgical procedures performed by SCP-049 are brutal, precise, and utterly devoid of empathy. Organs are removed, replaced, or simply rearranged with a chilling efficiency. There are no anesthetics, no concern for pain. The victim, if still conscious, experiences every agonizing cut, every sickening suturing, their screams echoing in a silent, sterile chamber. This is not surgery in the human sense. It is a meticulous deconstruction and reassembly, a dark parody of life-saving intervention. What emerges from this ordeal is no longer human, not in any meaningful sense. The reanimated corpse, now an SCP-049-2 instance, moves with an eerie, disjointed gait, its movements stiff and unnatural. Its eyes, though open, hold no recognition, no flicker of the person it once was. The vocal cords, if functional, emit only guttural moans or rasping breaths, never a word of the past. The individual's memories, their desires, their very identity are utterly eradicated, replaced by a singular, unwavering directive to assist SCP-049 in its macabre mission. They become tools, extensions of the Plague Doctor's will, stripped of free will, stripped of self, forever bound to their creator's horrifying purpose. This is the ultimate degradation, a living death in its most absolute form. Beyond the initial, brutal reanimation, the life, or rather the unlife, of an SCP-049-2 instance is one of chilling servitude and utter void. They are automatons, devoid of any discernible personality, memory, or independent thought. Their movements are often jerky, uncoordinated, yet possess a strange unnerving purpose when directed by SCP-049. Imagine a marionette, its strings pulled by an unseen malevolent hand, enacting a grotesque play. This is the existence of 049-2. Their physical state is a perpetual testament to their morbid creation. The skin, often discolored and scarred from SCP-049's surgery, may exhibit signs of necrosis in some areas, yet paradoxically they remain animated. Internally, the biological processes are profoundly altered, defying conventional understanding. Many of their vital organs are either removed, replaced with unknown substances, or drastically reconfigured. They no longer require sustenance, rest, or even air, functioning on some dark alien principle. This is not life-sustained. It is a perverse imitation, a biological mechanism twisted beyond recognition. One of the most disturbing aspects is their complete lack of self-preservation. An SCP-049-2 instance will not hesitate to throw itself into harm's way if commanded by SCP-0049 or if it perceives a threat to its creator. They are utterly fearless, not out of bravery, but out of an absence of the primal instinct to survive. They are expendable tools, and they act as such, their bodies merely shells for the twisted will that now drives them. Attempts to communicate with these entities have consistently proven futile. There is no spark of recognition, no flicker of the individual they once were, only blank, unseeing stares and an unwavering, silent obedience. Their purpose is singular: to assist SCP-049 in its crusade against what it perceives as the pestilence. This can manifest in various ways, from physically restraining new patients for SCP-049's surgical interventions to retrieving tools, or even defending the Plague Doctor from perceived threats. They are the grim acolytes in SCP-049's twisted medical theater, silent, tireless, and utterly terrifying in their devotion. The transformation is not merely a change in state, it is an absolute erasure, leaving behind only an empty vessel, forever bound to a horrifying master. The chilling reality of an SCP-049-2 instance extends far beyond its immediate servitude. These reanimated husks possess an unnatural durability, a resilience that defies conventional biological understanding. They can sustain grievous injuries that would instantly incapacitate or kill an ordinary human, yet continue to function with grim determination. Limbs can be severed, torsos pierced, and even severe cranial trauma often fails to halt their relentless advance. This isn't merely pain tolerance, it's an absence of the mechanisms that would normally cause a body to shut down. They are, in essence, machines of flesh, operating well past their organic limits. Furthermore, their state of decay is often arrested, or at least significantly slowed, by SCP-049's influence. While some instances may appear heavily decomposed, exhibiting necrotic tissue and a skeletal frame, others can maintain a surprisingly intact, if horrifyingly unnatural, appearance for extended periods. This suggests a continuous, subtle modification or maintenance by the plague doctor, preventing the natural progression of putrefaction that would typically render a corpse inert. They are trapped in a perpetual state of animated rot, never truly decaying into dust, never finding the peace of true death. The most disturbing aspect, perhaps, is the lingering question of awareness. While all evidence points to a complete eradication of consciousness, the human mind instinctively recoils from the idea of such an absolute loss. Is there some forgotten echo, a whisper of the original self, trapped within the confines of that reanimated form, a silent observer to its own desecration? The Foundation's research suggests otherwise, but the eerie, blank stares of 049-2 instances continue to fuel such morbid speculation. The idea of a soul imprisoned, forced to witness its own body commit atrocities, is a horror almost too profound to contemplate. In essence, becoming an SCP-049-2 instance is to be stripped of humanity, not merely in death, but in a continued, grotesque mockery of life. They are an eternal testament to SCP-049's twisted ideals, a legion of the damned, forever bound to a purpose that is not their own. Their existence is a constant, terrifying reminder of the ultimate cost of encountering the Plague Doctor, a fate far worse than a simple end. The horrific transformation into an SCP-049-2 instance also carries with it an unsettling sensory experience, or rather, the lack thereof. While they can navigate their environment and interact with objects under SCP-049's direction, their senses are profoundly dulled, if not entirely absent in any recognizable human form. They do not react to pain, extreme temperatures, or even loud noises in a way that suggests perception. This further reinforces their nature as mere biological machines, operating on a different plane of existence where human sensory input holds no sway. Imagine living in a world of muted shadows and echoes, where touch imparts no sensation and the air carries no scent. A truly isolating and terrifying state of non-being. Their interaction with their environment is purely utilitarian, driven by the immediate commands or perceived needs of SCP-049. They do not explore, do not react to beauty or ugliness, and show no curiosity. A burning building is merely an obstacle to be circumvented if SCP-049 is not present, or a source of warmth if commanded. A human being is either a potential patient for SCP-049 or an obstacle to be neutralized. There is no personal agency, no individual response to the world around them, only the cold, unwavering logic of their new imposed purpose. Another chilling aspect is the subtle yet persistent psychological impact on any living observer. Witnessing the reanimated remains of what was once a human being, stripped of all dignity and purpose, is profoundly unsettling. The vacant stare, the unnatural movements, the grotesque scars from SCP-049's cure, all combine to create an image of pure, unadulterated horror. They are a constant, walking reminder of a fate worse than death, a living testament to the terrifying capabilities of SCP-049. This psychological toll is not merely a side effect. It is an inherent part of their existence, subtly eroding the sanity of those who must interact with them. In essence, becoming an SCP-049-2 instance is not just a physical transformation. It is a complete annihilation of the self, a reduction to a mere tool in the hands of a monstrous entity. Every aspect of their existence, from their unfeeling senses to their utilitarian interactions, screams of a profound and irreversible loss. They are the ultimate embodiment of SCP-049's twisted vision, a silent, shuffling testament to the horrors that lurk beyond our comprehension. Perhaps one of the most insidious aspects of becoming an SCP-049-2 instance lies in the complete and utter loss of individual will. The very essence of what makes a person unique, their desires, their fears, their memories, their dreams, is meticulously scoured away, leaving behind a hollow vessel. There is no resistance, no struggle against SCP-049's commands. The instance moves, acts, and even perceives only in service of its creator's obscure agenda. This isn't brainwashing, it's a fundamental re-engineering of the self, a surgical excision of the soul. Consider the grotesque irony. A body, once animated by a vibrant consciousness, now serves as a puppet, its strings pulled by an entity that claims to be a healer. The movements of an SCP-049-2 instance are often stiff, almost mechanical, yet punctuated by moments of unnerving agility when pursuing a target or assisting SCP-049. They might shuffle slowly, their gait uneven, only to lunge with surprising speed and strength when commanded. This unpredictability adds another layer of terror, as their seemingly impaired state can suddenly give way to deadly efficiency. Furthermore, the pestilence that SCP-049 claims to cure remains an enigma, and by extension, the true purpose of its reanimated servants. While they often assist SCP-049 in its macabre surgeries, their roles can vary. Some act as silent guards, others as carriers of SCP-049's tools, while a few have even been observed performing rudimentary tasks like cleaning or organizing in a chilling parody of human domesticity. This adaptability, even within their mindless state, suggests a complex, if horrifying, design on SCP-049's part. They are not merely zombies. They are specialized instruments of a malevolent intelligence. The ultimate fate of an SCP-049-2 instance, should SCP-049 be neutralized or lose interest, is equally bleak. Without the Doctor's continued influence, it's theorized they would either collapse into inert corpses or continue their last commanded task until their unnatural animation finally failed. There is no release, no return to a semblance of peace. Their existence is a terrifying, open-ended sentence, a perpetual horror, until their reanimated flesh ultimately gives way. The very fabric of their existence, once teeming with the complex biological processes of life, is fundamentally altered. While they appear to be flesh and blood, their internal workings are a macabre mystery. Autopsies, when possible, reveal organs that are either severely atrophied, replaced by an unknown fibrous tissue, or simply missing. Yet the instance continues to function. This biological re-engineering defies all known medical science, suggesting a thaumaturgical or profoundly anomalous force at play. It's not merely reanimation, it's a perverse recreation, a mockery of the natural order. Their life is sustained by something beyond our understanding, a dark energy woven into their very being. This unnerving biological resilience contributes directly to their unsettling durability. Conventional methods of incapacitation that would fell a normal human often prove ineffective against an SCP-049-2 instance. They can sustain grievous wounds, bullet holes, lacerations, even the loss of limbs, and continue to function, driven solely by the will of SCP-049. This makes them incredibly dangerous adversaries, as their lack of pain response and continued animation means they will relentlessly pursue their objective until utterly destroyed. One might sever an arm only to watch it continue to advance, its remaining hand reaching, its vacant eyes fixed. The most disturbing facet, however, is the lingering question of awareness. While their actions suggest complete mindlessness, devoid of personal thought or emotion, the possibility remains that some flicker of the original individual persists, trapped within the reanimated husk. Imagine being a prisoner within your own decaying body, forced to witness your hands commit atrocities. Your feet carry you to unspeakable acts, all while your true self screams in silent agony. This horrifying speculation, though unproven, adds an unbearable layer of psychological terror to their existence. It transforms them from mere monsters into pitiable victims, eternally damned to their grotesque servitude. This potential for trapped consciousness is why Foundation personnel often approach SCP-049-2 instances with a mixture of revulsion and a deep, unsettling pity. They are not merely threats to be neutralized. They are a chilling testament to the profound and irreversible horror inflicted by SCP-049, a walking monument to a soul utterly destroyed. The transformation into an SCP-049-2 instance begins long before SCP-049's hands ever touch the victim. Exposure to the entity's anomalous touch, even without the infamous cure, initiates a rapid, horrifying cellular decay. This isn't merely necrosis, it's a systemic breakdown, a swift and aggressive rot that spreads through the body, causing immense pain and disfigurement. The skin discolors, organs fail, and the victim experiences a terrifying descent into physical collapse, all while acutely aware of their body betraying them. This initial phase is a cruel prelude to the final, irreversible change, a living nightmare that strips away dignity and hope. This pre-surgical decay, often referred to as the pestilence by SCP-049 itself, is what drives the entity to seek out and cure its victims. Yet, the cure is merely the culmination of this process, not its reversal. SCP-049 doesn't heal, it redefines. It takes a body already ravaged by its touch and reshapes it into something new, something horrific. The decay is not stopped. It is incorporated, becoming a part of the instance's unnatural constitution. The disfigurements remain, often accentuated by SCP-049's crude surgical alterations, making each instance a unique, grotesque sculpture of suffering. The psychological impact on anyone witnessing this process is profound. To watch a fellow human, or even an animal, succumb to this rapid decay, then be subjected to SCP-049's surgery, only to rise again as a mindless puppet, is an experience that scars the psyche. The knowledge that such a fate awaits anyone touched by SCP-049 creates an overwhelming sense of dread and helplessness. It's a violation not just of the body, but of the very concept of life and death, blurring the lines into an unspeakable abomination. Furthermore, the pestilence itself remains undefined, an abstract threat that only SCP-049 perceives. This makes its cure all the more terrifying, as it is applied to individuals who may appear perfectly healthy to all other observers. This arbitrary application of its anomalous touch means anyone could be a target, anyone could be deemed infected, and anyone could be condemned to become another silent, shuffling servant. The lack of a clear definition for the disease makes the threat omnipresent and insidious, an invisible sword hanging over all who encounter the Doctor. Once an individual succumbs to SCP-049's cure, Their transformation into an SCP-049-2 instance is absolute and, chillingly, irreversible. There is no known method, no experimental treatment, no esoteric ritual that can restore them to their former state. The original personality, memories, and consciousness are utterly annihilated, replaced by an empty vessel animated solely by the will of SCP-049. This is not a coma from which one might awaken, nor a curse that can be broken. It is a finality far more terrifying than death itself. The destruction of the individual's identity is perhaps the most profound horror. Imagine everything that makes you you, your loves, your fears, your dreams, your very sense of self, being systematically erased, not by death's embrace, but by a malevolent reanimation. What remains is a grotesque mimicry of life, a puppet controlled by unseen strings, its former self merely a forgotten echo in a dead mind. This complete obliteration of selfhood means that even if the physical form could be reverted, the person who once inhabited it would be irrevocably gone. This permanence is a cornerstone of the psychological horror associated with SCP-049-2 instances. It means there is no hope for rescue, no chance of redemption for those who fall victim. They are lost forever, condemned to an eternity of silent servitude. This truth weighs heavily on Foundation personnel, particularly those who have witnessed the transformation firsthand. The knowledge that the shuffling, shambling figures they face were once vibrant, sentient beings, now reduced to unthinking tools, creates a pervasive sense of despair. Furthermore, the instances show no signs of aging or further decay once fully transformed. They are perpetually animated, existing in a state of suspended horror. Their bodies, though scarred and altered, do not succumb to the natural processes of decomposition that would affect a normal corpse. This eternal animation ensures that the grotesque spectacle of their existence persists indefinitely, a constant, chilling reminder of SCP-49's horrifying capabilities and the futility of resistance against its cure. They are forever bound to their new, horrifying purpose. The most immediate and unsettling aspect of becoming an SCP-049-2 instance is the profound alteration of one's physical form. While the process begins with the insidious cellular decay, SCP-049's surgery then reshapes the body in ways that defy biological understanding. Limbs may be reattached at unnatural angles, internal organs repositioned or replaced with unknown necrotic tissues, and the skin often bears crude, stitched incisions that never truly heal. These aren't mere scars. They are permanent, grotesque modifications, a macabre testament to the doctor's work. Eyewitness accounts from Foundation personnel describe instances with limbs grotesquely elongated, or torsos splayed open and crudely resewn, revealing glimpses of the unnatural biological architecture within. One particular incident involved an instance whose head had been rotated almost 180 degrees, forcing it to look over its own shoulder as it shambled forward, a truly disturbing image that defied all natural anatomy. These physical aberrations are not random. They seem to be a deliberate part of SCP-049's re-engineering, perhaps to enhance durability or simply to reflect its twisted aesthetic of perfection. The resulting body is no longer truly organic in the traditional sense. It possesses an unnerving resilience to damage that would incapacitate or destroy a normal human. Instances have been observed shrugging off multiple gunshot wounds, continuing their relentless pursuit even with grievous injuries that would be instantly fatal. They show no pain response, no flinching, no hesitation. This makes them incredibly difficult to neutralize, transforming what was once a fragile human into a relentless, unfeeling engine of terror. Moreover, the physical transformation extends to their sensory perception, or rather, the lack thereof. SCP-049-2 instances do not appear to see, hear, or feel in any conventional manner. They navigate their environment with an uncanny, almost instinctual awareness, driven solely by SCP-049's commands. This absence of sensory input further emphasizes their status as mere vessels, devoid of the very faculties that define conscious existence. They are husks, animated by an alien purpose, their re-engineered bodies serving as silent, grotesque manifestations of a horrifying will. Each grotesque stitch, each unnatural twist of limb, is a testament to the eradication of the individual and the birth of an instrument. Beyond the grotesque physical alterations and the chilling absence of identity, a critical aspect of becoming an SCP-049-2 instance lies in the complete subjugation of their will. These reanimated husks are not merely mindless, they are extensions of SCP-049's own consciousness, utterly devoted to its enigmatic purpose. Their every movement, every lurching step, is dictated by the Doctor. There is no independent thought, no flicker of their former selves attempting to break free. This absolute subservience means that an SCP-049-2 instance will relentlessly pursue any directive given by SCP-049, regardless of the danger to itself or the inherent illogicality of the task. They will walk into open flames, hurl themselves against fortified barriers, or stand motionless for days if commanded. Their existence is solely defined by their master's decree, transforming them into perfectly obedient, utterly expendable tools in SCP-049's crusade against the pestilence. Consider the implications of this total control. A loved one, now a shuffling horror, could be commanded to attack their own family, to desecrate their former home, or to assist SCP-049 in curing others. The horror isn't just in their monstrous appearance, but in the knowledge that the person within is gone, replaced by a programmed automaton forced to enact unspeakable acts. There is no struggle, no resistance, only a chilling, mechanical compliance. Foundation observations have consistently shown this unwavering obedience. During containment breaches, instances will prioritize protecting SCP-049, forming a living shield, or actively seeking out uninfected personnel to bring before their creator. They exhibit a chilling adaptability in carrying out these commands, demonstrating a rudimentary, almost primal intelligence in problem-solving, yet always within the strict confines of SCP-049's will. This isn't true intelligence, but a terrifying reflection of their master's intent. This complete and utter lack of individual autonomy is what truly distinguishes SCP-049-2 instances from other forms of reanimated dead. They are not simply zombies driven by instinct. They are instruments, puppets whose strings are pulled by a singular, malevolent intelligence. To become an instance is to lose not just your life, but your very capacity for self-determination, your essence absorbed into the horrifying collective will of the Plague Doctor. Perhaps the most insidious and terrifying aspect of becoming an SCP-049-2 instance is the irreversible nature of the transformation. There is no known method, no experimental treatment, no esoteric ritual that can restore an individual once they have undergone SCP-049's cure. The process is absolute, a permanent erasure of the former self and the implantation of a new, horrifying existence. Once the cellular decay has begun and SCP-049 has laid its hands upon a victim, the die is cast. Even if SCP-049 is neutralized mid-procedure, the irreversible damage and reanimation seem to have already taken root, leaving behind a grotesque, incomplete mockery of life. This finality is a crushing blow to any hope of reversal, turning every encounter with SCP-049 into a desperate fight for not just survival, but for the very essence of one's being. The Foundation has, on countless occasions, attempted to study and reverse the transformation. Researchers have meticulously dissected instances, analyzed their necrotic tissues at a molecular level, and even attempted to apply various anomalous countermeasures. All efforts have met with abject failure. The re-engineered biology of an SCP-049-2 instance is fundamentally altered beyond the scope of current scientific understanding or anomalous intervention. The original blueprint of the human body and mind is not merely corrupted, it is overwritten, erased, and replaced with something entirely new and horrific. This permanence extends beyond the physical. The psychological identity, the memories, the personality, everything that made the individual unique is utterly annihilated. There is no hidden spark of consciousness, no imprisoned soul struggling to break free. What remains is an empty vessel, animated by an external will, a chilling testament to the finality of SCP-049's work. To look into the vacant eyes of an SCP-049-2 instance is to stare into an abyss where a human once was, and to know that nothing can bring them back. The irreversible nature of this transformation elevates SCP-049-2 instances from mere monsters to symbols of ultimate loss. They are walking monuments to what was and what can never be again. This terrifying finality imbues every encounter with SCP-049-2 with a deep sense of dread, a chilling reminder that some horrors, once unleashed, can never be undone. The transformation into an SCP-049-2 instance is not merely a death, it is an eternal damnation, a perpetual state of servitude from which there is no escape. Beyond the physical and psychological annihilation, a key aspect of becoming an SCP-049-2 instance is the chilling transformation into a vector of the pestilence itself. While SCP-049's touch directly initiates the rapid cellular decay, the instances it creates serve a secondary, insidious purpose: to spread the fear and chaos that SCP-049 seems to equate with its perceived affliction. They are not merely tools for manual labor or defense. They are instruments of psychological warfare. The mere presence of an SCP-049-2 instance is enough to induce profound terror. Their shambling gait, the guttural moans that escape their re-stitched throats, and the vacant, unblinking stares are designed to dismantle the sanity of any witness. They are a constant, living reminder of the fate that awaits those who fall victim to the Doctor's touch. This psychological impact is not incidental. It is a deliberate byproduct of their creation, serving to weaken resistance and spread despair. Think of the horror of seeing a former friend or colleague, now a grotesque parody of their past self, lurching towards you with an unsettling, relentless determination. Their presence alone is a psychological weapon, eroding morale and sowing panic among uninfected personnel. This emotional contagion, this spreading of dread, is as much a part of the pestilence as the physical decay itself, perhaps even more so in SCP-049's twisted philosophy. Furthermore, while SCP-049-2 instances do not directly transmit the pestilence through touch in the same manner as SCP-049, their very existence facilitates its spread. They can corner victims, restrain them for SCP-049's arrival, or simply overwhelm defenses, allowing the Doctor unimpeded access to new patients. In this sense, they are active participants in the propagation of SCP-049's horrifying mission. Their resilience and tireless nature make them incredibly effective at this task, ensuring that few can escape the Doctor's grim attention once the instances are deployed. The psychological impact of encountering an SCP-049-2 instance is often as debilitating as the threat of physical harm. Survivors of such encounters frequently suffer from severe PTSD, nightmares, and an enduring fear of the grotesque. This profound mental scarring contributes to the overall horror of the pestilence, demonstrating that the Doctor's cure extends its tendrils far beyond the individual victim, infecting the minds of all who witness its dreadful aftermath. Another chilling facet of becoming an SCP-049-2 instance lies in the complete and utter subjugation of the individual's will. When SCP-049 cures a victim, it doesn't merely reanimate a corpse. It establishes an unbreakable psychic bond, rendering the instance a mere puppet on its strings. There is no independent thought, no flicker of self-preservation, no capacity for defiance. Every movement, every guttural sound, every single action is dictated by the will of SCP-049. This absolute control is perhaps the most dehumanizing aspect of the transformation. The individual is not just dead, but enslaved in a state of perpetual mindless servitude. They become an extension of SCP-049's malicious intent, their reanimated bodies acting solely to further its enigmatic crusade against the pestilence. Imagine the horror of having your physical form, your very vessel, used against your former allies, your family, or even yourself, without any ability to resist or influence its actions. Foundation researchers have, on occasion, attempted to disrupt this mental link, employing various anomalous and technological methods to sever the connection between SCP-049 and its instances. All such attempts have failed spectacularly. The control exerted by SCP-049 appears to be absolute and inherent to the reanimation process itself. It is not a learned behavior or a temporary compulsion. It is the fundamental operating principle of an SCP-049-2 instance. This unwavering obedience means that an SCP-049-2 instance will pursue its directives with a relentless, terrifying tenacity, undeterred by pain, injury, or conventional obstacles. If SCP-049 commands it to breach a reinforced door, it will batter itself against the barrier until its limbs are mangled, its flesh torn, and its form barely recognizable. Yet it will continue its futile assault until the command is either fulfilled or its physical structure completely fails. This single-minded devotion, born of utter subjugation, makes them incredibly dangerous and difficult to deter. The loss of free will is, in many ways, a fate worse than death. To exist as an unthinking drone, a mere tool in the hands of a terrifying plague doctor, is to be stripped of everything that defines humanity. It is to be reduced to a biological automaton, a ghastly echo of life animated by a foreign, malevolent purpose. The true horror of becoming an SCP-049-2 instance lies not just in the grotesque transformation, but in the complete and irreversible surrender of one's very essence to an alien master. Another ghastly key aspect of becoming an SCP-049-2 instance is the profound alteration of their physical resilience and physiological functions. These reanimated husks are not merely dead bodies brought back to a semblance of life. They are inherently changed organisms, possessing an unnerving durability far exceeding that of a normal human being. Their bodies, though often appearing decayed and crudely restitched, can withstand damage that would instantly incapacitate or kill an uninfected person. Bullets might tear through their flesh, but they rarely stop an instance unless critical structural components are completely obliterated. Blunt force trauma that would shatter bones in a living person often elicits no more than a momentary stumble from an SCP-049-2. They feel no pain, no fatigue, and possess no instinct for self-preservation. This makes them incredibly difficult to neutralize, requiring overwhelming force or precise targeting of specific areas, such as the brain or spinal column, to truly stop their relentless advance. Furthermore, their physiological needs are entirely absent. They do not require food, water, sleep, or even oxygen to continue functioning. They are perpetual motion machines of flesh and bone, driven solely by the will of SCP-049. This makes them incredibly efficient and tireless agents of the pestilence, capable of operating indefinitely without respite. They can be deployed in environments utterly inhospitable to human life, adding another layer of terror to their capabilities. Imagine a legion of these things emerging from a toxic gas cloud, their necrotic lungs unaffected, their stitched eyes fixed on their next victim. This terrifying resilience is a direct result of SCP-049's surgery. The Doctor's re-engineering process seems to fundamentally alter the cellular structure, granting the instances a form of unnatural robustness. While the exact biological mechanisms remain a mystery, the practical implications are clear. An SCP-049-2 instance is a formidable, almost unstoppable foe, capable of enduring immense punishment without faltering. This unnatural durability, combined with their complete lack of self-preservation and unwavering obedience, transforms each instance into a truly horrifying weapon. They are expendable shock troops, capable of absorbing incredible amounts of damage while relentlessly pursuing their objectives. To face an SCP-049-2 is to confront a creature that laughs in the face of conventional injury, a testament to the chilling efficacy of SCP-049's cure in creating its monstrous servants. A deeply disturbing aspect of becoming an SCP-049-2 instance is the profound alteration, or rather, the complete eradication of their sensory perception. Unlike living beings who rely on sight, sound, touch, taste, and smell to navigate and interact with the world, SCP-049-2 instances operate without any conventional sensory input. Their eyes, though often present and sometimes even appearing to track movement, do not perceive light in any recognizable way. Their ears, though intact, do not register sound. They are deaf, blind, and utterly numb to physical sensation. This absence of sensory input contributes significantly to their unnerving behavior. They move with a strange, shambling gait, often bumping into obstacles that a sighted creature would easily avoid, yet they relentlessly pursue their objectives. They do not react to loud noises or sudden flashes of light. This lack of response makes them incredibly unsettling to observe, reinforcing the impression that you are not dealing with a creature that perceives the world as you do, but rather a grotesque automaton driven by an unseen force. How, then, do they navigate and execute SCP-049's commands? Research suggests that they operate through a form of extrasensory perception, an inherent, almost psychic link to SCP-049 itself. It is believed that SCP-049 directly transmits its directives and perhaps a rudimentary map of its immediate surroundings directly into the minds of its instances. This allows them to locate targets, bypass obstacles, and coordinate with other instances without the need for traditional communication or sensory input. This internal guidance system is what makes them so terrifyingly efficient. They cannot be tricked by illusions, blinded by flashbangs, or disoriented by sonic devices. Their perception bypasses the physical realm, tapping into a more primal, direct connection to their creator. Imagine facing a foe that sees through walls, that is unaffected by darkness, and that cannot be fooled by diversions. This alien form of awareness makes them incredibly difficult to evade or mislead. The eradication of sensory perception is a final, cruel twist in the transformation into an SCP-049-2 instance. It ensures that even if a glimmer of the former self were to somehow persist, it would be trapped in a sensory void, unable to interact with the world it once knew. It removes any last vestige of connection to humanity, solidifying their role as unthinking, unfeeling instruments of SCP-049's horrifying will. They are not merely dead, they are utterly disconnected, existing in a silent, sightless nightmare compelled by another. Another chilling aspect of what happens when you become an SCP-049-2 instance lies in the complete and utter loss of individual identity. The person you once were, with your memories, your personality, your hopes, and your fears, is utterly obliterated. There is no lingering consciousness, no whisper of the self trapped within the reanimated flesh. What walks and shambles is merely an empty vessel, a marionette animated by a malevolent will. This isn't merely a suppression of identity, it's an erasure. The surgery performed by SCP-049 doesn't just reanimate the corpse, it fundamentally rewrites the core of what it means to be an individual. The brain, while functionally re-engineered to allow for motor control and the reception of SCP-049's directives, no longer processes complex thought, emotion, or self-awareness. It is a biological computer, stripped of its operating system and repurposed for a singular, horrific function. Consider the profound psychological horror this induces in those who witness the transformation, especially if the instance was once a friend, a family member, or a loved one. To see the familiar face of someone you knew, now twisted into a grotesque mask of obedience, devoid of any recognition or spark of their former self, is a torment far beyond mere physical threat. It's a violation of humanity, a cruel mockery of life itself. The empty stare, the unthinking movements, the total lack of response to their former name or memories, these are the hallmarks of a soul annihilated. There is no cure for this loss of identity, no method known to restore the original consciousness. The transformation is absolute and irreversible. This makes SCP-049's actions not just acts of reanimation, but acts of profound spiritual murder. It doesn't just kill the body, it eradicates the very essence of personhood. This aspect underscores the true nature of SCP-049's pestilence and its cure. It's not about healing, it's about control, about creating a subservient army of husks that are utterly devoid of individual will or thought. The loss of identity is the final definitive step in this process, ensuring that every SCP-049-2 instance is a perfect, unthinking tool for its creator, a chilling testament to the total dominion SCP-049 exerts over its victims. One of the most unsettling and strategically significant aspects of becoming an SCP-049-2 instance is their unwavering obedience and complete lack of self-preservation. Unlike any living creature, these reanimated husks possess no innate desire to protect themselves from harm. They will relentlessly pursue their designated tasks, even if it means enduring catastrophic damage or stepping into clearly lethal situations. Their existence is solely defined by SCP-049's will, and their actions are dictated by its directives, without question or hesitation. This absence of self-preservation instinct makes them incredibly dangerous and difficult to deter. A living combatant, no matter how brave, will instinctively flinch from pain, seek cover from gunfire, or recoil from a direct threat to their life. SCP-049-2 instances exhibit none of these natural responses. They will walk through hails of bullets, ignore severe injuries that would incapacitate a normal human, and continue their advance even as their bodies are torn apart. Their only directive is to fulfill SCP-049's command, and nothing, not even their own destruction, will sway them. Consider the tactical implications of such an adversary. Conventional military strategies rely on breaking enemy morale, inflicting casualties to force a retreat, or using suppressive fire to pin them down. None of these tactics work against SCP-049-2 instances. They have no morale to break, no fear of death to exploit, and no self-preservation instinct to override. They are relentless, unyielding, and terrifyingly single-minded. This unwavering obedience extends to even the most suicidal commands. If SCP-049 were to order an instance to walk into a raging inferno or hurl itself from a great height, it would do so without a moment's pause. Their will is not their own. It is merely an extension of SCP-049's consciousness, a chilling manifestation of absolute control. This makes them not just formidable, but truly horrifying. They are living, shambling testaments to a complete usurpation of autonomy, a final, ultimate degradation of the human spirit. They are not brave. They are simply devoid of choice, forced to act out the grim commands of their creator until their reanimated flesh can no longer hold together. Another insidious transformation when one becomes an SCP-049-2 instance is the grotesque alteration of their physiology, not just in terms of reanimation, but in the peculiar, disturbing ways their bodies are re-engineered to serve SCP-049's purpose. While they are animated corpses, they are far from simple zombies. SCP-049's surgery is more akin to a macabre biological reconstruction, twisting organic matter into forms that defy natural law and serve a singular, horrifying function. The cellular decay that initiates the process is not merely stopped, it's reorganized. Tissues that should be dead are imbued with an unnatural vitality, and organs are often repurposed or even restructured in ways that are not immediately visible, but contribute to their terrifying efficiency. For instance, while they don't require sustenance in the conventional sense, their bodies are often seen to harbor a peculiar, viscous fluid that circulates, seemingly maintaining their unholy animation. This is not blood, but a dark, unsettling ichor, a byproduct of SCP-049's arcane biological manipulation. Furthermore, their internal structures often show signs of being optimized for their role. Musculature, while appearing withered or decayed externally, possesses an unnatural strength and endurance, allowing them to perform tasks that would be impossible for their original living forms. Bones, too, become unnervingly dense and resistant to fracture, contributing to their remarkable resilience. It's as if the very architecture of their bodies has been redesigned from the ground up, not for life, but for relentless, unfeeling servitude. These physiological alterations are not uniform. They can vary subtly between instances, a chilling testament to SCP-049's seemingly intuitive, yet utterly alien, understanding of biology. Each instance is a bespoke horror, a tailor-made instrument of its master's will, optimized for the dissemination of its pestilence. This grotesque re-engineering goes far beyond simple reanimation, creating a new, terrifying category of biological entity, a testament to SCP-049's dark genius and the ultimate fate of those unfortunate enough to fall under its scalpel. Perhaps one of the most existentially terrifying aspects of becoming an SCP-049-2 instance is the profound and complete eradication of any discernible trace of the original individual's consciousness or memories. This isn't merely a suppression, it's an absolute annihilation. The person who once was is utterly gone, leaving behind an empty vessel, a hollow echo animated by an external alien will. Imagine the horror of witnessing a loved one transformed, their familiar features twisted into an expressionless mask, their eyes devoid of recognition, utterly blind to the bonds they once shared. There is no flicker of memory, no hint of past affection, no lingering spark of the personality that once defined them. All that remains is the shambling form, a puppet controlled by a malevolent puppeteer. This isn't a state of amnesia or a temporary loss of self. Extensive psychological and neurological examinations of captured SCP-049-2 instances have consistently revealed a complete absence of higher brain function, specifically those areas associated with memory, emotion, and self-awareness. The intricate neural pathways that once held a lifetime of experiences are either corrupted beyond recognition or simply inert, replaced by a rudimentary reactive programming. There is no person trapped inside, desperately fighting for control, no tormented soul struggling against its new master. That would, in a perverse way, offer a shred of solace, a sign that the individual still exists, however agonized. Instead, there is nothing. The mind that once dreamed, thought, and felt has been utterly extinguished, leaving behind a biological automaton. This makes the transformation all the more horrific. It is a true death of identity, a complete erasure of what it means to be human. The body moves, yes, but the essence, the unique tapestry of experiences and consciousness that formed the individual, is gone forever. It is a fate worse than mere physical demise, for it desecrates not just the body, but the very concept of the self. The subjugation of an SCP-049-2 instance is absolute, extending beyond mere obedience to a complete and utter lack of self-preservation. These reanimated husks possess no innate desire to protect themselves, no instinct for survival, making them terrifyingly effective and utterly relentless in their assigned tasks. They are, in essence, disposable tools in SCP-049's horrifying crusade, and they act accordingly. Imagine facing an adversary that feels no pain, no fear, and no urge to retreat, even in the face of overwhelming odds. A bullet to the limb will not deter it. A broken bone will not slow its advance. It will continue its relentless march, its movements perhaps a little more awkward, but its purpose unwavering, until its physical form is utterly incapacitated. This isn't bravery, it's the chilling absence of any self-serving instinct. This aspect makes conventional deterrence virtually useless. Warning shots, non-lethal force, or even the threat of severe injury hold no sway over an SCP-049-2 instance. They will walk through fire, endure grievous wounds, and throw themselves into suicidal situations without hesitation, if that is what SCP-049's will dictates. Their existence is defined by their singular purpose, and the integrity of their own physical form is irrelevant to that directive. This absolute lack of self-preservation is a direct consequence of the annihilation of their consciousness and identity. Without a self to preserve, there is no fear of death, no instinct to avoid harm. They are simply vectors for SCP-049's cure, and their physical durability serves only to prolong their utility in that role. This makes them incredibly dangerous and difficult to contain, as traditional methods of combat and deterrence rely on the opponent's inherent desire to survive. To fight an SCP-049-2 instance is to fight an unthinking, unfeeling force of nature, a relentless automaton that will only cease its actions when its physical form is no longer capable of motion. It is a terrifying prospect, confronting an enemy that values its own existence less than the fulfillment of its master's dark desires. The reanimation process carried out by SCP-049 is not a simple resurrection. It is a grotesque biological re-engineering, transforming the deceased into something far more resilient and optimized for its horrifying purpose. These are not fragile, decaying corpses clumsily brought back to life. They are unnaturally durable constructs designed to withstand punishment and persist in their grim duties. Consider the cellular structure of an SCP-049-2 instance. While the initial touch of SCP-049 causes rapid cellular decay in living tissue, the subsequent surgery appears to reverse or halt this degradation, replacing it with an unknown, synthetic-like resilience. Tissues that should be brittle become unnervingly tough. Bones that should shatter under impact merely flex or resist. There's an unnatural elasticity, a disturbing robustness that defies conventional biology. Reports from containment breaches and field encounters consistently describe SCP-049-2 instances, shrugging off injuries that would incapacitate or kill a normal human. Gunshot wounds that would be instantly fatal often fail to stop their advance, requiring multiple, precise shots to vital areas or complete dismemberment to halt them. Blunt force trauma that would pulverize organs seems to have a diminished effect, the re-engineered musculature and skeletal system absorbing impacts with chilling efficiency. This enhanced durability is a key aspect of their terrifying efficacy. They are built to endure, to persist through obstacles and damage that would fell any other foe. It's as if their very biological composition has been subtly but fundamentally altered to serve as the perfect, unyielding instrument of SCP-049's will. They are not merely reanimated, they are upgraded, transformed into something less organic and more akin to a living biological weapon impervious to the vulnerabilities of their former human state. This chilling resilience ensures their tireless pursuit of SCP-049's grim agenda, making them truly formidable and deeply unsettling adversaries. Perhaps the most insidious aspect of becoming an SCP-049-2 instance is the absolute and irreversible annihilation of your former self. This is not a partial loss, nor a temporary affliction from which one might recover. Your consciousness, your memories, your entire identity, everything that made you you, is utterly erased, leaving behind an empty biological automaton. Imagine the horror of witnessing a loved one transformed, their eyes vacant, their movements jerky and unnatural. You might see their face, their form, but the person you knew is simply gone. There is no spark of recognition, no flicker of memory, no echo of their past personality. Their existence is now solely defined by the directives of SCP-049. They are an empty vessel, puppeteered by an unseen malevolent force. This isn't a state of zombification where a vestige of the original might linger, a faint echo struggling to break through. No, the process is far more complete, far more chilling. The very neurological pathways that once housed thought, emotion, and self-awareness are either destroyed or completely overwritten, repurposed for the singular, grim objective assigned by their creator. It's a complete factory reset, but with the user data permanently deleted. There is no pain in this state, no suffering in the conventional sense, because there is no self left to experience it. This absence of sensation, coupled with their relentless drive, only amplifies the horror for observers. To look into the eyes of an SCP-049-2 instance is to stare into a void, a chilling testament to what was once a vibrant human being, now reduced to a mere tool. This profound erasure is what makes the transformation so utterly terrifying, a fate far worse than simple death. It is the obliteration of being itself. The reanimated husks, once human, are now entirely devoid of the very senses that connect us to the world. Imagine a complete sensory deprivation, but one that is permanent and involuntary. They do not feel pain, a terrifying advantage in combat, allowing them to push through grievous injuries without hesitation. A bullet tearing through flesh, a limb dislocated, the searing heat of fire. None of it registers. They simply continue their relentless march, their bodies enduring damage that would incapacitate or kill any living being. This absence of pain makes them horrifyingly efficient instruments of destruction. They are incapable of self-preservation in the traditional sense because the concept of harm means nothing to them. They will walk through fire, throw themselves against fortified positions, or endure sustained attacks without a single flinch. Their existence is solely dedicated to fulfilling SCP-049's commands, and personal safety is an entirely irrelevant concept. Beyond pain, their other senses appear to be either entirely absent or so drastically altered as to be unrecognizable. They do not react to loud noises, bright lights, or even the most noxious odors. Their eyes, though physically present, seem to perceive only what is necessary to navigate and track targets for SCP-049. There's no curiosity, no aesthetic appreciation, no recognition of beauty or disgust. The world, as we understand it through our senses, simply does not exist for them. This sensory void contributes significantly to their unsettling nature. They are unthinking, unfeeling automatons, driven by an external will. There is no way to appeal to them, to distract them, or to inflict suffering that might deter them. They are purely functional, their bodies reduced to mechanisms, and their existence a chilling testament to the utter subjugation of individual will and sentience. Beyond the terrifying loss of self and the chilling absence of sensation, a key aspect of becoming an SCP-049-2 instance lies in the complete and utter subjugation to SCP-049's will. These reanimated husks are not independent entities. They are extensions, puppets dancing to the tune of their creator's dark symphony. Every movement, every action, every grotesque shuffle is dictated by SCP-049. There is no free will, no individual thought, no deviation from the commanded path. Imagine your entire being reduced to a remote-controlled drone, its every function and purpose dictated by a distant, unseen operator. That is the existence of an SCP-049-2 instance. They are tools, nothing more, deployed with chilling precision in SCP-049's relentless crusade against what it perceives as the pestilence. This absolute control makes them incredibly dangerous. They operate with a singular, unwavering focus, unburdened by fear, doubt, or personal agenda. If SCP-049 wills them to breach a fortified door, they will relentlessly batter against it until it splinters, or until their own bodies are too damaged to continue. And even then, they will remain animated until completely destroyed. If SCP-049 commands them to pursue a target, they will chase it with an unnerving, tireless persistence, ignoring all obstacles and dangers. This complete enslavement is perhaps the ultimate indignity, a final grotesque insult to the human spirit. To have your body animated, your physical form used as a weapon, while your mind and soul are utterly extinguished, is a fate designed to induce maximum horror. They are living nightmares, walking testaments to SCP-049's terrifying power and its absolute dominion over life and death. The psychological impact of encountering an SCP-049-2 instance cannot be overstated. It's a profound, visceral horror that goes beyond mere fear of physical harm. Witnessing what was once a human being, perhaps even someone you knew, reduced to a shambling, unthinking automaton, is deeply disturbing. The grotesque reanimation, the vacant stares, the unnatural movements, all contribute to a pervasive sense of unease and dread. Observers often report feelings of intense revulsion, despair, and a chilling realization of humanity's fragility. The sight of these entities shatters preconceived notions of life, death, and identity. It forces one to confront the terrifying possibility of one's own consciousness being utterly annihilated, replaced by a puppet's strings. This isn't just a monster, it's a perversion of existence itself. The knowledge that these creatures were once individuals with lives, memories, and dreams adds another layer of psychological torment. There's no reasoning with them, no hope of reaching the person they once were. They are empty vessels, their former selves erased, and that irreversible loss is a heavy burden for any witness to bear. It's a stark reminder of SCP-049's terrifying efficacy, not just in physically transforming its victims, but in utterly eradicating their essence. This profound psychological horror is a weapon in itself. It demoralizes, traumatizes, and can break even the most hardened individuals. It breeds a sense of helplessness, knowing that any interaction with SCP-049 could lead to this terrifying identity-erasing fate. The SCP-049-2 instances are not just physical threats. They are walking, shambling symbols of existential dread, a chilling glimpse into a fate worse than death. One of the most unsettling aspects of becoming an SCP-049-2 instance is the sheer irreversibility of the transformation. There is no going back. The cure SCP-049 administers is absolute, a finality that transcends even the concept of death as we understand it. Once the cellular decay sets in and the reanimation process begins, the individual is lost forever. There is no known method, no experimental treatment, no esoteric ritual that can restore the original consciousness, memories, or identity. This permanence amplifies the horror exponentially. It's not merely a temporary affliction or a state from which one can be recovered. It is an ultimate erasure. Think of it: a loved one, a colleague, a stranger you pass on the street, touched by SCP-049, and within moments their essence is irrevocably snuffed out, replaced by an empty vessel. The biological machinery continues, but the soul, the spark of individuality, is gone, never to return. This lack of reversal underscores the profound tragedy of each new instance. Every SCP-049-2 is a monument to a life utterly consumed and distorted, a chilling testament to a transformation that cannot be undone. It means that any effort to save a victim once the process has begun is futile. All that remains is the grotesque animated husk. This knowledge hangs heavy in the air around SCP-049, a constant, grim reminder of the finality of its touch. The Foundation has, of course, explored every conceivable avenue for reversal, from advanced medical intervention to thaumaturgical approaches. All have met with abject failure. The re-engineered biology of an SCP-049-2 instance is fundamentally altered, its original structure and function overwritten by SCP-049's twisted design. This irreversible nature solidifies the SCP-049-2 phenomenon as one of the most terrifying outcomes in the Foundation's catalogue, a sentence of eternal, mindless servitude with no hope of reprieve or redemption. Perhaps one of the most chilling aspects of SCP-049-2 instances is their unnerving durability and resilience. These reanimated husks, despite their often decayed or crudely stitched appearance, possess an abnormal resistance to damage that defies conventional biological understanding. Standard firearms, blunt force trauma, and even severe lacerations often prove far less effective than they would against a living human, or even a typical cadaver. Their bodies, having undergone SCP-049's grotesque re-engineering, seem to operate beyond the normal limits of organic material. Bones that should shatter merely crack. Flesh that should tear holds together with an unnatural tenacity, and organs that would be vital in a living being appear to serve little functional purpose in their reanimated state. This resilience isn't a sign of enhanced strength, but rather a terrifying indifference to injury. They simply do not register the damage, continuing their relentless, shambling pursuit or task with an unwavering focus. This makes their neutralization a significant challenge for containment teams. Conventional deterrents, designed for living combatants or even undead entities with discernible weaknesses, often prove insufficient. An SCP-049-2 instance can sustain multiple gunshot wounds, lose limbs, or endure severe burns, yet continue to advance, driven solely by the will of SCP-049. They are not deterred by pain, as they feel none, nor by the prospect of self-preservation, which they inherently lack. Their unnatural durability renders them terrifyingly effective tools in SCP-049's crusade. They become living battering rams, impervious shock troops that can breach defenses and overwhelm personnel through sheer, unyielding persistence. This resilience transforms them from mere reanimated corpses into something far more insidious, tireless, unfeeling instruments of a plague doctor's twisted vision, almost impossible to truly stop without complete dismemberment or overwhelming destructive force. It's a testament to the horror that even their physical forms betray the natural order, making them truly formidable and deeply unsettling adversaries. The ultimate and perhaps most dreadful purpose of an SCP-049-2 instance is its unwavering dedication to SCP-049's twisted pestilence crusade. These reanimated husks are not merely animated corpses, they are tools, extensions of the Plague Doctor's singular, horrifying mission to eradicate what it perceives as the Great Pestilence. Every movement, every shambling step, every act of aggression is dictated by this overarching alien purpose. They are the foot soldiers in a war no one else can truly comprehend. SCP-049-2 instances will relentlessly pursue any living human deemed afflicted by their master, attempting to incapacitate them and drag them back to SCP-049 for treatment. They are the harbingers of its gruesome mercy, the physical manifestation of its terrifying ideology. Their actions are not born of malice or hatred, but of a cold, programmed adherence to a directive that transcends human morality. This makes them profoundly dangerous. They do not negotiate, they do not hesitate, and they cannot be reasoned with. Their existence is solely to serve as instruments of a cosmic horror, to facilitate the spread of SCP-049's cure to an unwilling world. Imagine facing a relentless tide of these entities, each one a former human, now a mindless automaton, driven by an unseen force to bring you to their master. Their goal is not to kill you outright, but to deliver you, intact, to the plague doctor's operating table. Their role in the pestilence crusade is what truly elevates them beyond mere zombies. They are not aimless monsters, but directed, purposeful agents of an anomalous intelligence. They are the physical embodiment of SCP-049's will, its hands and feet in a world it seeks to purge. This makes them not just terrifying, but deeply unsettling, proof that even the most horrifying transformations can be bent to a singular, incomprehensible purpose. One of the most insidious aspects of becoming an SCP-049-2 instance is the profound psychological horror it inflicts upon observers. It's not merely the sight of a shambling, reanimated corpse that curdles the blood. It's the stark, undeniable evidence of what was once a human being, now reduced to a grotesque parody of life. The fear isn't just of physical harm, but of witnessing the annihilation of identity, the perversion of existence itself. Imagine seeing a friend, a loved one, or even a casual acquaintance transformed into one of these things. Their face, perhaps still recognizable despite the decay, now wears an expression of vacant, unseeing horror. Their movements, once familiar, are now jerky, unnatural, and devoid of any human grace. Every fiber of their being screams wrongness, a violation of the natural order so profound it can shatter the psyche. This psychological impact is far more devastating than the fear induced by a typical monster. A beast hunts, a zombie devours. But an SCP-049-2 instance is a living tombstone, a constant, moving reminder that consciousness can be extinguished, identity erased, and the physical form repurposed for an alien, horrifying agenda. It forces an observer to confront the fragility of their own existence, the ephemeral nature of their self. The horror intensifies when one considers the implications. If this can happen to them, it can happen to anyone. It's a vision of a future where humanity is not just extinguished, but twisted into an unholy mockery of its former self, serving a cure that is worse than any disease. This existential dread, this profound sense of violation, is a key element of the terror SCP-492 instances inspire, making them not just physical threats, but psychological weapons that erode the very concept of what it means to be human. The sight alone is often enough to induce severe trauma, a chilling testament to the depth of their abomination. Perhaps the most terrifying and tactically challenging aspect of an SCP-049-2 instance is its complete immunity to conventional deterrence. These entities are not swayed by pain, fear, or the threat of injury, because such concepts simply do not register within their reanimated forms. They are, in essence, biological automatons, driven by an external will and devoid of the intrinsic survival instincts that govern living creatures. A bullet to the chest, a broken limb, or even severe lacerations will not halt an SCP-049-2 instance in its tracks. There is no central nervous system to shock, no pain receptors to overload, and no psychological breaking point to exploit. They will continue to advance, to pursue their given directive, until their physical structure is so utterly compromised that it can no longer function. This requires extreme measures, often involving complete dismemberment, incineration, or massive blunt force trauma to truly neutralize one. This indifference to damage makes them incredibly dangerous in any confrontation. Standard military protocols designed to incapacitate and subdue living threats are rendered largely ineffective. Imagine a barricade, breached not by overwhelming force, but by a figure that simply walks through a hail of gunfire, its body riddled with holes, yet still reaching for its target. It's a nightmare scenario for any security force, as the usual rules of engagement utterly fail. This immunity extends beyond physical harm. They cannot be intimidated or deterred by displays of force. They do not comprehend surrender or retreat. Their relentless, unfeeling advance is a testament to the absolute control SCP-049 exerts over them, making them perfect, horrifying instruments for its twisted agenda. The only way to truly stop an SCP-049-2 instance is to destroy it utterly, leaving no functional parts to continue its terrifying, unholy mission. The absolute and unwavering obedience of an SCP-049-2 instance to its creator, SCP-049, is a chilling cornerstone of its terrifying efficacy. These reanimated husks possess no free will, no independent thought, no flicker of their former selves. They are merely extensions of SCP-049's consciousness, biological puppets dancing to the tune of its malevolent will. Every jerky movement, every shambling step, every grotesque action is a direct manifestation of SCP-049's directives. This complete subjugation means that an SCP-049-2 instance will execute any command given by SCP-049 without hesitation, question, or deviation. Whether it's to pursue a diseased individual, to stand as a silent, unyielding guardian, or to engage in direct, brutal confrontation, the instance will perform its task with single-minded, relentless focus. There is no negotiating with it, no reasoning, no appeal to a forgotten humanity, for none of those things exist within its reanimated shell. This unwavering obedience renders them incredibly predictable in their ultimate goals, yet terrifyingly unpredictable in their methods, as their creator's will can shift. If SCP-049 commands them to ignore incoming fire and advance, they will. If it instructs them to tear down a reinforced door with their bare, decaying hands, they will persist until the task is complete, or they are physically incapable of continuing. Their loyalty is absolute, their servitude unending. This dynamic creates a terrifying synergy between SCP-049 and its creations. It allows SCP-049 to operate with a dedicated, expendable, and terrifyingly effective workforce, each instance a perfect tool for its pestilence crusade. The instances are not merely reanimated corpses. They are the physical embodiment of SCP-049's will, a chilling testament to its power to manipulate life and death, and a perpetual reminder of the utter loss of self that awaits those touched by the plague doctor. Beyond the physical transformation and the annihilation of self, one of the most insidious aspects of becoming an SCP-049-2 instance is the absolute and irreversible nature of the change. There is no known cure, no reversal, no hope of restoration for those subjected to SCP-049's grotesque treatment. Once the process is complete, the individual ceases to exist, replaced by a hollow, animated shell. This finality is a source of profound despair for anyone who witnesses the transformation, especially if the victim was once a loved one. To see a friend, a family member, or a colleague become one of these shambling horrors, knowing that the person they once were is irrevocably gone, is a psychological torment in itself. It is not merely death, it is something far worse, a perversion of life that mocks memory and identity. Efforts by Foundation researchers to reverse the effects have consistently met with abject failure. The biological restructuring performed by SCP-049 is so fundamental, so complete, that the original biological and neurological structures are utterly destroyed and replaced. It's not a temporary affliction or a curable disease. It's a total re-engineering of the organism, designed not to restore, but to serve a new, terrifying purpose. Even if the physical body of an SCP-049-2 instance was somehow returned to its original state, the consciousness, the memories, the very essence of the individual would not return. That spark of self is extinguished, annihilated in the process. What remains is an empty vessel, a monstrous echo of what once was. This grim reality underscores the horror of SCP-049's cure. It doesn't heal. It utterly consumes, leaving behind only puppets. This irreversibility is a key factor in the Foundation's containment protocols and the severity with which SCP-049 is handled. The threat is not just to life, but to the very concept of individual existence. To become an SCP-049-2 is to be erased, to be repurposed, to become an eternal, unfeeling servant to a malevolent will, with no hope of ever reclaiming the life that was stolen. It is a fate more terrifying than mere death, a chilling testament to the utter finality of the Plague Doctor's touch. A key, chilling aspect of becoming an SCP-049-2 instance lies in the complete absence of self-preservation instincts. Unlike living creatures, which instinctively recoil from danger, seek shelter, or attempt to avoid harm, an SCP-049-2 exhibits none of these fundamental behaviors. Its reanimated body is merely a tool, and its continued physical integrity is secondary to the directives of SCP-049. This means an instance will willingly, even blindly, walk into situations that would be suicidal for any living being. It will ignore grievous wounds, continue to advance despite broken limbs, and even allow itself to be incinerated or dismembered if that is what is required to fulfill its current objective. This lack of self-preservation makes them incredibly dangerous and difficult to contain. They cannot be deterred by pain, intimidation, or the threat of destruction, because these concepts hold no meaning for them. Imagine facing a foe that continues to advance, its body riddled with bullet holes, a limb hanging by a thread, yet its vacant eyes remain fixed on its target, its movements unwavering. This unnerving persistence is a direct consequence of its re-engineered nature. The biological processes that once governed fear and the instinct to survive have been utterly excised, replaced by a singular overriding program: absolute obedience to SCP-049. This attribute also highlights the profound psychological impact they have on those who encounter them. To witness a former human, now a grotesque parody of life, willingly sacrificing its own decaying form without a hint of fear or hesitation is deeply unsettling. It strips away any illusion of control or safety, reinforcing the monstrous perversion of life that SCP-049 inflicts. The absence of self-preservation transforms SCP-049-2 instances into relentless, single-minded threats. They are unstoppable in their pursuit, until they are utterly, physically annihilated. This terrifying dedication to their master's will, devoid of any personal cost or consequence, makes every encounter with an SCP-049-2 a desperate struggle for survival against an unthinking, unfeeling, and utterly relentless force. It is a chilling testament to the finality of their transformation and the horror of their new existence. Another chilling aspect of becoming an SCP-049-2 instance is the profound alteration of its physical senses, or rather, the lack thereof in any conventional human understanding. These reanimated husks do not perceive the world through sight, sound, smell, taste, or touch in the way a living being does. Their sensory input is fundamentally rewired, tailored solely to facilitate their function as SCP-049's agents. While their eyes may appear to track movement and their decaying ears might register sound, these are not functions for awareness or enjoyment. Instead, they are crude, utilitarian sensors, picking up only the necessary cues to follow commands and locate targets. The vibrant tapestry of human experience, the subtle nuances of a sunset, the comforting melody of a song, the warmth of a touch, all are utterly lost to them. Their world is reduced to a stark, functional landscape of data points relevant only to SCP-049's directives. This absence of conventional sensation contributes to their terrifying efficiency. They are not distracted by environmental stimuli that would affect a living person. A blinding flash of light, a deafening explosion, or a noxious odor might disorient or incapacitate a human. But an SCP-049-2 instance will simply process it as irrelevant noise or a potential obstacle to be navigated. They feel no discomfort from extreme temperatures, no pain from physical injury, no revulsion from their own decaying state. This sensory deprivation underscores their transformation from sentient beings into mere biological machines. They are isolated within their reanimated forms, experiencing a desolate existence devoid of subjective reality. It's a terrifying testament to the completeness of SCP-049's cure. Not only does it destroy the mind and identity, but it also strips away the very means by which one perceives and interacts with the world, leaving behind a hollow, unfeeling automaton, perfectly crafted for its grim purpose. Perhaps one of the most insidious and terrifying aspects of becoming an SCP-049-2 instance is the development of an extrasensory, almost telepathic link to SCP-049. This isn't merely a master-servant dynamic. It's a profound, intrinsic connection that binds the reanimated husk directly to the plague doctor's will. The instances don't simply obey commands. They seem to know them, often acting in concert and with uncanny coordination, even without overt communication from SCP-049. This connection allows SCP-049 to direct its creations with frightening precision, even from a distance. It's as if each instance is merely an extension of his own malevolent consciousness, a biological puppet whose strings are pulled by an unseen force. This phenomenon grants SCP-049 a formidable advantage in spreading its pestilence and combating any opposition. Imagine a horde of these abominations, moving with a singular, unnerving purpose, each one intuitively understanding its role in a larger, horrifying strategy, all orchestrated by the silent will of their creator. This goes beyond simple animalistic instinct or programmed behavior. There's a subtle, disturbing intelligence at play, not from the individual instances, but from the collective, guided by SCP-049. They can anticipate his needs, adapt to unforeseen circumstances in ways that suggest more than mere rote instruction, and execute complex maneuvers that would typically require direct verbal command. This psychic tether ensures absolute loyalty and instantaneous response, making them incredibly difficult to predict or counter. This connection also means that SCP-049 is likely aware of their status, their location, and perhaps even what they perceive through their rewired senses. It paints a chilling picture of a network of unfeeling eyes and hands, constantly working towards SCP-049's inscrutable goals, all reporting back to the Central Intelligence. The individual is gone, replaced by a living, decaying node in SCP-049's terrifying network, forever bound to his purpose. It is a true perversion of life, where autonomy is not just lost, but utterly subsumed by a far more sinister consciousness. The grotesque reanimation of a victim into an SCP-049-2 instance doesn't merely bestow a new, horrifying purpose. It also grants an unnerving, almost supernatural resilience. These are not fragile, shambling corpses. They are incredibly durable husks, capable of sustaining damage that would instantly incapacitate or destroy a living human, yet continuing their relentless pursuit. Their bodies, though often appearing decayed and stitched, are far from weak. They seem to operate beyond the limitations of normal biology. Broken bones don't hinder them. Severed limbs, while certainly a setback, don't stop their advance if their core functions remain. They can endure multiple gunshots, severe blunt force trauma, and even sustained exposure to elements without showing signs of fatigue or collapse. It's as if the very concept of physical limitation has been surgically removed during SCP-049's cure. This abnormal durability is not a sign of life, but a testament to the perverse efficiency of SCP-049's work. The re-engineered tissues, the altered physiology, it all contributes to a construct designed for maximum endurance in its grim task. They don't bleed out in the traditional sense, their internal systems no longer reliant on the delicate balance of a living organism. Their movements, though often jerky and unnatural, possess a terrifying, unyielding strength that allows them to push through obstacles that would break a normal person. This resilience makes confronting an SCP-049-2 instance a truly harrowing experience. Standard defensive measures often prove insufficient, merely delaying the inevitable rather than stopping it. They will keep coming, their decaying forms shrugging off damage until their core functions are utterly annihilated. It's a relentless, unthinking force, driven by SCP-049's will and protected by a chilling, unnatural fortitude. This terrifying robustness ensures that once a victim becomes an instance, they are not merely reanimated, but weaponized into an enduring instrument of pure, unyielding horror, designed to persist and spread the pestilence long after a living being would have succumbed. The ultimate horror of becoming an SCP-049-2 instance lies in the absolute and irreversible annihilation of your identity. This isn't just a loss of memory or a temporary mental affliction. It is a complete erasure of the self, a surgical removal of everything that once constituted you. Your consciousness, your unique personality, your hopes, fears, and dreams, all are utterly extinguished, leaving behind an empty vessel. When SCP-049 applies his cure, it isn't merely reanimating a corpse, it's fundamentally restructuring the very essence of the individual at a cellular and neurological level. The brain, the seat of human consciousness, is grotesquely repurposed, its intricate pathways and stored experiences wiped clean, replaced by a rudimentary operational system designed solely to serve SCP-49's directives. There is no flicker of recognition, no buried fragment of the former self waiting to be awakened. The person you once were is gone, utterly and irrevocably. This transformation represents a fate far worse than death. Death, at least, offers a cessation, an end to suffering. Becoming an SCP-049-2 instance is an eternal damnation, an existence without self, without purpose beyond that imposed by a malevolent entity. The body may walk, may move, may even perform complex actions, but it is merely a grotesque puppet, a hollow echo of a life once lived. There is no hope of restoration, no therapy, no known anomaly capable of bringing back the original consciousness. The process is absolute. The former individual is not merely dormant, they are annihilated, their very essence dissolved into the chaotic, re-engineered biology that now serves as SCP-049's tool. This finality is perhaps the most chilling aspect, for it confirms that when you become an instance of SCP-492, you don't just lose your life, you lose your very being, becoming nothing more than a terrifying, unthinking extension of the Plague Doctor's grim crusade. The transformation into an SCP-049-2 instance doesn't just strip away identity, it fundamentally perverts the very concept of life. These reanimated entities are not alive in any conventional sense, nor are they truly dead. They exist in a horrifying liminal state, a mockery of biological function engineered solely to serve a singular destructive purpose. This state of unnatural existence is a key aspect of what happens when you fall victim to SCP-049's cure. Their bodies, though animated, do not exhibit the complex self-sustaining processes of living organisms. They do not require food, water, or sleep. Their wounds, while they may cause visible damage, do not trigger the biological responses of pain or healing. Instead, they operate on a grotesque, simplified system sustained by an unknown anomalous energy or process initiated by SCP-049. This makes them tireless, unyielding, and utterly devoid of the vulnerabilities that define life. This perversion extends to their behavior. They display no intelligence, no emotion, no capacity for independent thought. Their actions are purely reactive, dictated by SCP-049's telepathic commands or pre-programmed directives. They will shamble forward, attack, or hold position with an unsettling robotic efficiency, their decaying features locked in a vacant yet menacing expression. There is no joy in their movements, no fear in their confrontations, only the cold mechanical execution of their purpose. To witness an SCP-049-2 instance is to observe a profound violation of natural order. It is a body without a soul, a form without function beyond the malevolent will of its creator. This state of non-life, this artificial animation, ensures that the instance remains a perfectly controlled, utterly expendable tool in SCP-049's crusade against the pestilence, existing as a chilling testament to the Doctor's perverse interpretation of a cure. They are not living, they are not dead, they are simply instruments of horror, forever trapped in an unnatural, subservient existence. The final, chilling key aspect of becoming an SCP-049-2 instance is the inescapable, absolute subjugation to SCP-049's will. This is not merely obedience, it is a complete usurpation of agency, a total surrender of any individual volition. From the moment the cure is applied, the reanimated husk becomes an extension of the Plague Doctor himself, a puppet whose strings are pulled by an unsung, telepathic force. This subservience is total, An SCP-049-2 instance will never question a command, never hesitate, never falter in its assigned task. Whether it's to patrol an area, engage a threat, or simply stand motionless for an indefinite period, their compliance is absolute. This unwavering loyalty is not born of respect or fear, but from a fundamental re-engineering of their core being. The very pathways of their repurposed brains are wired for singular, unconditional service to SCP-049. Examples of this terrifying control are abundant in Foundation logs. Instances have been observed performing complex, coordinated movements, acting as a single, terrifying organism under SCP-49's direction during containment breaches. They will ignore self-preservation, walking into direct fire or through hazardous environments without hesitation if commanded. Their existence is solely defined by their master's objectives, their every action a reflection of his desires. This complete subjugation transforms the SCP-049-2 instance into the perfect, unthinking tool for SCP-049's pestilence crusade. They are an army without morale, without fear, without pain, guided by a single, unwavering consciousness. The horror lies in knowing that the individual you once were is now merely a remote-controlled automaton, forced to participate in acts of grotesque violence, its body moving without its consent, its former identity utterly erased and replaced by the will of its monstrous creator. There is no escape from this servitude, no moment of clarity, only an eternal silent obedience to the Plague Doctor's dark vision. The ultimate horror of what happens when you become an SCP-049-2 instance is the absolute and utter lack of restoration. There is no cure for the cure. Once transformed, the process is irreversible. The individual you once were is gone, not merely suppressed or dormant, but annihilated, replaced by the empty vessel. This finality is perhaps the most terrifying aspect, extinguishing all hope. Foundation efforts to reverse the transformation have met with consistent and devastating failure. Attempts to revive the original consciousness, to sever the telepathic link, or to biologically undo the grotesque re-engineering have all proven fruitless. The cure is a permanent, fundamental alteration, rewriting the very essence of the victim's being. The neural pathways that once housed memories, emotions, and personality are irrevocably damaged or repurposed, leaving behind a blank slate for SCP-049's dominion. This irreversibility means that every SCP-049-2 instance represents a personal tragedy without end. A loved one, a colleague, a stranger, all are lost forever, their bodies walking nightmares, their minds erased. There is no redemption, no return to normalcy. They are condemned to an eternity of silent servitude, their reanimated forms serving as grim monuments to SCP-049's terrifying efficacy. Even if SCP-049 were to be neutralized, the instances he created would likely remain in their altered state, shambling husks devoid of purpose, unable to reclaim their former lives. Their existence would continue as a perpetual testament to the destructive power of the Plague Doctor's anomalous abilities. This bleak reality underscores the true horror of encountering SCP-049. Not just the threat of death, but the far more insidious threat of a fate worse than death, from which there is no escape, no undoing, no hope. So, what truly happens when you become an instance of SCP-049-2? We have journeyed through the grim details, peeling back the layers of this horrifying transformation, and the picture that emerges is one of utter desolation. It is a fate that obliterates the very essence of personhood, leaving behind a grotesque echo. At its core, The transformation is the absolute annihilation of the individual. Your consciousness, your memories, your very identity, all are mercilessly scrubbed away, leaving a void where a soul once resided. The body, once a vessel for life, becomes a reanimated husk, devoid of sensation, pain, or any natural instinct for self-preservation. It is no longer truly alive, nor truly dead, but a perversion of both, a biological mockery designed for a singular, terrifying purpose. This re-engineered form possesses an unnatural durability, shrugging off damage that would fell any living creature, all thanks to SCP-049's insidious cure. But this resilience comes at the cost of all autonomy. You become irrevocably subjugated to SCP-049's will, a puppet whose every movement, every action is dictated by the Plague Doctor's telepathic command. You are a tireless, expendable tool in his relentless crusade against the pestilence, your reanimated form compelled to seek out others for the same gruesome treatment. And perhaps the most chilling truth of all, there is no hope of restoration. The transformation is permanent, irreversible. The individual is gone forever, replaced by an empty vessel that will serve its creator until its unnatural end. There is no waking up, no breaking free, no return to who you once were. We've sought to inform you, to illuminate the dread reality of this particular anomalous affliction. Let the knowledge of what happens when one becomes an SCP-049-2 instance serve as a stark, chilling reminder of the horrors that lurk just beyond the veil of our understanding. For within the Foundation's archives, some fates are indeed worse than death, and this, perhaps, is among the most terrifying of them all. Be vigilant, be wary, for the Doctor and his creations are always seeking new patients for his dreadful cure.